The market's flashing red and we got a bunch of warnings being issued by players out there. We're talking bubbles, but XRP has some good news and so does ADA. A recent governance vote rocked things. We're going to talk about that. BTC, NFT sales. Nope, we're not going to talk about that because no one gives an absolute crap about that. XRP price action and
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
right up on the screen, post-Thanksgiving buying opportunity? Maybe. It all depends on if that bubble they're talking about is going to burst. Yeah, that's the big warning right now. The AI bubble. Big enough to bring us all down. Speaking of down volume, down to 107 billion during this Thanksgiving weekend. How are y'all doing? How are y'all been doing with your food and with the waistlines? Well, before we get into that news, you know the deal. You're the viewer. You matter most, and I share your comments at the beginning of every video. Andrew Butcher says, the buzz and beard looks good, Klaus. Choo choo. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. The problem was, I did the buzz during the winter, so now my head is freezing every time I frickin' go running. Shopman's hanging out, says happy Thanksgiving. I'm not one that joins channels, but I did yours because you make crypto news entertaining, for real. If we didn't have a little humor with this stuff, we would go frickin' nuts. We would pull our hair out, well, those of us that have hair long enough, we would pull it out on days like today. Why? Because we had major ETF juicy action and it didn't do shit for price. One more comment, we get to the news. OMG, it's Nathaniel says, where in South Dakota did you live? East River or West River? Sitting here in Pierre. Nice. East River. SXF. For those of you that are in South Dakota, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I was a Sioux Falls person. I had the license plate that had the number 1 on it. You know what I'm talking about. Bitcoin 90,691, ETH is 29.93. I might be looking at more ETH. I'll talk to more about this at the end of the video because ETH and HBAR are looking juicy. XRP at 220, BNB at 877, ADA 41 cents. We're going to talk some ADA news because they've got a big announcement. XLM 25.36. Altcoin season, no girlfriend. It's BTC dominance right now, 22 out of 100. And check this out. In fact, you go to the chart. Yo, ever since we were rocking it really good in July, we have been on a downward trend. Why? Brags. Now look at all this. These are the cryptos that are in the green over the last 90 days. Well, all of these right here, our favorites like XLM, Sol, Flare, HBAR, XDC, ETH, they're all deep in the red over the last 90 days. Crypto markets are mixed as BTC tests 93, ETH and XRP hit major resistance. Yeah, we were doing good, and then all of a sudden, things started going south. And you can see it with these little mini charts up on the screen. The red that we've seen over the last 24 hours. The market wants to know what Jerome Powell's going to do on the 10th. Honestly, I think he's going to cut. It would be great. That would most likely mean he probably won't cut in January, but hell, give us a cut now and let us get some subcommittee votes. That's the thing, that we don't know if we're going to get the subcommittee vote yet. If we do, we'll go into the green. If we don't, we'll stay red. The crypto market continued to witness a mixed outing on Friday, with BTC retesting the 92,500 mark, down a bit from that, down about 2,000, while ETH and XRP both broke resistance areas, but then again fell back to the friend zone. Look at XRP specifically. I'm going to go to the 1 week so you can see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, we were doing really good. We were above 225, and then we just kind of flattened off here right around the 220 mark. While gains indicated renewed investor optimism amid broader economic uncertainties, the swift retreat to BTC and the rest shows how fragile things are because we're waiting for regs and we're waiting for rate cuts. Now, Cardano, a little ADA news for y'all out there, sets a record with the fastest ever governance vote. I have zero problems with this. Y'all know I rip on Charles, right? And I rip on ADA sometimes. Yeah, but when you do something good, I give you praise. That's how this works. I don't care if you're tall, short, fat, thin, dude, chick, blue-haired giraffe. You do something cool, props. You do something stupid, we get to rip on you. Cardano, DREP, and SPO, Yamir Tessar highlights the milestone in a recent tweet. On November 27th, a new budget info action was submitted for community consideration. The Cardano Critical Integrations budget proposed an allocation of 70 million ADA from Treasury to fund a coordinated program. The move represents a coalition of input-output emerger on the Cardano Foundation. Basically, they got this vote done faster than anything else. And here's what Charles said. We got some exciting things that are coming up. On December 8th, yes, let's pay attention to that. On December 8th, they think they're going to be able to launch the Midnight Night token. Oh, That's December 8th. So do you think that maybe, just maybe, we could get a little bit of an ADA rebound? ADA over the last year has struggled. Was $1.20 plus, now a third of that. That's not a good sign off. For the year, down 61%. XRP for the year, up 28%. So you could see a very stark contrast between the two. Either way, I think this is awesome because, again, when you do something like a governance vote, you do it through blockchain and you're able to get it done quickly, a winner in my book. Price for Cardano? I don't know. Is that an opportunity or is this thing a dirt? NFT sales surge 9%. No. Some of you, like 0.001% of you, might be into NFT stories. If you are, it's linked in the description down below. Let me tell you why I don't want to share this story. NFC sales volumes has climbed almost 10% to 77 million. Fuck, that's like little kid numbers. No one gives a shit about that. But if you do, I've got your back covered, linked in the description below. 4.1 billion in 24 hours. That's XRP's open interest. Ooh. The CoinGlass data pegs the actual open interest at 1.98 billion XRP, almost 2 billion XRP itself. The open interest is a good measure of demand for the coin, especially with the recent liquidation imbalance. And we've seen two major liquidation events happen recently, so a lot of the risky money, a lot of the leverage money has been flushed out of the market, giving us what? A little bit of stability. And speaking of price stability, I expect this price stability to continue through the weekend, and then we get into Monday where hopefully things heat up. Open interest is a good measure of demand for the coin. According to CoinGlass data, CME dominated the XRP futures market with an open interest share of 25%. That's actually quite a bit. The Binance exchange also proved popular for Ripple's associated coin XRP, with the total XRP locked in the futures market at over $500 million, 600 million. That's a lot. That's locked up in futures contracts. That's freaking awesome. The growth of XRP and open interest has slightly deviated from the price outlook. Okay, we wish it was a little bit more, but that's how it goes. Now we're going to talk about XRP ETFs pulling in 21 million in early trading volume hours in their start. That's huge. That's great. That's telling us that once we get regs, we're going to have more traditional money going in. And you're like, bro, well, how do you know that? Look, the reason these players want to get into ETFs is because these products are regulated. They've got regs, they're monitored, and they're a lot more secure. Okay, those all kind of tie into each other. So traditional finance looks at crypto and goes, yo, you're not regulated. There's a lot of shenanigans going on with bots and insider action. We want to touch XRP, but because of those problems, we're going to have to touch XRP through an ETF. That's why I think when we get the regs, that's when the real juice is going to happen. So this ETF volume with XRP, Bitwise being a big boy right there, shows us that once we get the regs, traditional finance will want native token. Recent intraday data shared by popular crypto analyst Chad Steingraber shows that all 5 listed XRP ETFs pulled in over 21 million just within the first few hours. While the ETFs have continued to record strong performance since their emergence, the volume recorded today is impressive but low compared to previous days. I'm not worried about the volume with that because it's the Thanksgiving weekend. We talked about this all week, and that's how you knew at the beginning of this week not to be freaked out by the volume right now only being 105 billion in the last 24 hours. So the ETFs are giving us a nudge that traditional finance wants to get in on the native token. We just need the regaronis. Now, XRP price volume, $3.3 billion. It's not bad, to be honest with you. For XRP, I think that's pretty good. All right, we're still doing good, better than we were last year during the Gary Gensler era. There. Did I just give you a little PTSD? I said Gary Gensler. My bad. I should have done a little bit of warning. Price-wise, I don't know. We need something. You can tell. Look at this. The last, 5 days, it's just been kind of meh. The market is waiting for the regs, waiting for Powell, waiting for something to break, some good news. The problem is, though, is you got a huge section of the market out there freaking out that this AI bubble is going to destroy everything. The AI bubble is bigger than the financial crisis in 2008. The amount of money that's been invested in the AI bubble is bigger than the crypto runs. The amount of money invested in the AI bubble is bigger than the .com bubble money. And we saw what happened there. We saw what happened with the housing bubble. That's why people are freaking out. They need these AI projects to start making some money, right? Start being profitable so that they're just not throwing money away. So, yes, we've got good news for some of our native tokens. ADA's got some good news. XRP's got some good news. We might be back in the buying zone a little bit for HBAR at 14.4. I might try to snipe in the low 14s or high 13s. I might put another big stack on that one. But why? Well, we're all freaking out because of the AI bubble and economic uncertainty. So once we chew through that, we should know exactly what's happening. And we know what's going to happen if we get those regs and if we get those bubbles fixed. Because traditional money is pouring into ETFs. They just want the guidance so they can pour into native token. The dot-com bubble is a big concern, and it's like this rain cloud looming over our heads. Do y'all remember like the depression medication commercials a few years ago where it was like the rain cloud following that one guy all over the place? And you're like, dude, the reason you're depressed is because the storms freaking hate you and it always is raining on you. You're not really depressed. You're just in bad weather all the time. No, the reality is that AI bubble is that rain cloud over crypto's head that's just following us everywhere. And people are freaking out about it because we saw a lot of money left crypto, venture capital money, left crypto and went into AI. A bunch of miners out there, BTC miners, said, yo, we're not profitable with BTC mining. Let's use our rigs for AI computing power. Boom, they started pivoting to AI. A lot of money. NVIDIA was a player that was like, yo, we're interested in crypto, and now they're balls deep into AI. So a lot of money has been sucked up by AI, and we're just hoping it doesn't turn into a bubble that bursts. Because if it does, we're all going to be experiencing the vast amount of red that's not just on the screen, that's on the background. It'll be even more red that's on the screen. So we're going to see what happens with that, because I got a feeling within this next year, we should know if AI is going to pan out or not. We should also be getting the regs, and we should also be able to get more juicy action for crypto. Now, XRP and ADA, I don't know. XRP from right now is in the friend zone price-wise. ADA is in the no-touch zone. I can't. I just can't. I've seen their performance. It sucked. They never made a really good move during this last year like a lot of the other alts have. But maybe I'm wrong. Convince me down below. What should I be buying if it goes on flash sale next? You tell me. I'm always the one telling you the news. You tell me. Choo-choo what? Well, it's been flashing behind me the entire time. I got a little bit of weekend beard going on. I'm going to have to fix that for Monday. Choo-choo what? You know the deal. Choo-choo bitches.